Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. My food just arrived 1 second ago, so that's why there was a little bit of a hiccup. I am not 100% sure if everyone can hear me. So, speakers, can you do a thumbs up if you can hear me? Okay, perfect. I'm going to let everyone in the stream. Hey, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
I
Hello.
cannot yet.
Hi,
I
everyone.
think it's. Um, I quickly need to walk downstairs to get my food. So, you three, can you talk amongst yourselves for a bit?
Okay,
For sure.
sure.
Tell me a little bit. Okay, Sai, you just went to a lab. Tell everyone how it went.
Yeah. Okay. So I went to the App Store and Business Marketing Lab, and I went for this app I'm working on called AirGift, and it's an AR social networking app. So since it's kind of like a very niche space, I was just wondering, what are some of the ways that an app can get promoted? How does the editorial team consider placing and featuring an app? And there are two ways they can be featured, either on the Today tab, which is the first thing that users see, or in the apps tab, there's all these collections, and how does an app get added over there? And yeah, they gave a bunch of really good tips on when to reach out to the App Store, and there's a couple of great links, appstore.com/promote, and even on the Apple developer website, there's a page, I think, just talking about how you can get your app featured. And since I'm sure a lot of developers are tuning in, they did say that one of the best ways to get featured is if you're using new Apple technologies. So that would include using things like WidgetKit, or some of the new stuff they announced this year, SharePlay, and other new frameworks. So if you use like SwiftUI or any of the new technologies, and you let App Store know about that, there's a high chance they're going to promote your app. So those are just a couple of the stuff I picked up at the Business and Marketing Lab, and labs are just one of the best things about DubDub.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool, Sai. Did they tell you anything about, making your app accessible, other traits that you need to add to your app to make it more likely that you will get featured on the App Store? I imagine that they are going to try to place focus on that kind of stuff. So, they promote the very best apps. So it has to be accessible, it has to be localizable, be available in as many languages as possible. So, were you able to query anything about that to them?
So I did ask specifically about accessibility, but they did say that they look for, I think, three main things. One is how helpful the app is. Two is what the app experience is like, and then three is just how innovative the app is overall. And they say they're kind of, or the way this person described it was kind of like a hierarchical level. First, you start with a promotion, maybe some things like an artwork. Then you go to the Today tab, and then from the Today tab, your app is put into maybe and this happens as you keep updating your app, and it becomes more and more mature. From the Today tab, it gets considered for editor's choice, and then from editor's choice to the end of the year, App Store does the best apps of the year, and then from there to an ADA, which I think is every developer's kind of goal, sort of.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So, and are you planning on starting that process anytime soon for your own apps?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of like developing this application, and the ultimate goal, my dream goal, I guess, is winning an ADA. So, just have to work through the tiers, and it's a several year journey. But I am really excited to start this process. I see we have
Hey,
Georgie back.
everyone. Yeah, I'm back as well. I was letting you all continue talking because it seemed like a nice talk. My food arrived like literally 20 seconds before I was supposed to start the stream. So let me do a quick introduction now because we've got a few more people here as well, or a few more, one more. Stefan is back as well. Hey, Stefan, nice to have you there again.
Hey.
And I think everyone here on the panel has been on during the week. So, Prabhajit, you were actually the first commentator on Tuesday morning. So, how's it going?
Yeah.
How was your week? How was your week?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Just finally got time to catch up to all the sessions and everything I missed. Got
Oh yeah, because you had your exams during the week as well, right?
yeah. So I just like had my whole week shrunk into this day. I attended 2 labs back to back, watched session on binged all the sessions I could. So yeah.
Which labs did you go to?
I went to the SwiftUI lab and the developer technical open hour.
Oh, nice. Lucky that you got a SwiftUI lab. They were super hard to get this year, as is every year. What was the second one you mentioned? The like the technical support kind of thing.
Developer tool OpenR. Yeah.
Okay. So that's more about like Xcode and development tools and any questions related to that.
Yeah, but there were also option to ask like other topics. I particularly like asked about a bug I was facing in an app. Like it was related to widgets. In the SwiftUI one was also like pretty cool. It was like just 25 minutes, but they like solved a bug and also like asked me to like file a feature suggestion.
Nice. Sounds like a productive lab. That's always good. Andy, last time I spoke to you, you were really into the SwiftUI. I think you were looking at the demystifying SwiftUI one.
Yeah, exactly. Demystify SwiftUI.
Were there any new sessions that were released today or at the end of the day yesterday that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, so there's two topics. First is localization. There's a lot of sessions on localization this year because they are really doing a very great job improving the localization APIs. They are making it, Swift friendly. They are making it easy to implement, and there's a lot of improvements regarding localization. And this helped me realize that I have actually been doing localization wrong. These talks are great because they make you realize what you're doing wrong, or even they also teach you best practices and how you're going to implement the newer tools for your localization workflow. And other than that, I actually looked at one session that is a throwback to the basics. This is a session that I recommend to everyone, especially newcomers, developers that didn't get to work with Objective-C, or developers who started working with Objective-C before Arc was introduced. There's a talk called Arc in Swift, Basics and Beyond. And this is a very good talk because it teaches about how memory is managed in Swift, how you can avoid retain cycles, and many of the topics that session covers, they are questions that I have been asked at technical interviews because memory management is important, but it's so highly managed by Swift thanks to Apple. But there's still cases when you need to be aware of what it's doing, and you need to understand weak, strong. And I checked that session out because it's good to see that Apple is still pushing the basics so people don't forget to check them out. I recommend that talk to older developers to be up to date and newer developers to know how
which year was that session? Was that from this year or was it from a previous year?
It's from this year. It's from this morning, actually. It's called Arc in Swift, Basics and Beyond.
All right. So, Stefan, obviously your apps don't need any Arc basics. You already got that all figured out. And now yesterday, did you have a chance to look at the design awards as well?
I had the chance to look at them, actually.
What did you think of that? Because Sai already mentioned like how to get your app up there and like which steps to take, and he had some good tips in terms of like localization and making sure your app doesn't crash. So what were your takeaways from the design awards?
I think one thing that I thought was pretty nice was that it was a good mixture of different kinds of apps. So it was like apps that were built by a single person, but also bigger ones like the League of Legends one. Like this was like it's a huge one, and I really like that Apple is taking the approach of highlighting the work of different kind of groups. So like bigger teams and also solo developers, because I think that's really motivating. Like Sai mentioned, like his dream is to make one app one day that will be featured there. So I think it's really great that this is a goal that a single person can achieve, and it's really realistic, especially looking at his work. So yeah. What was your impressions of all of you other people here?
I like the new format that they did where they had the nominations, so it was not just, hey, these are the winners, because it gave some suspense, and it also allowed for a bigger number of apps to be like shown, so that you could find one that identifies more with the kind of app that you're working on. I think similar to what you were saying as well, because you could see an app like Genshin Impact, which I think is like one of the biggest apps right now in terms of games, and then there was also some super small indie games, or the winner of like Carrot Weather is like famously made by one person. Obviously, it's been in keynotes before and it's been featured all over the place. So he's probably at that point where he had a chance to win an ADA. But I just really like that they gave their explanation as well for what makes it a winner. Because I think there's a lot of learnings in there that you can like really like take to your apps and just, all right, hey, let me work on these things because one of these ADA apps did that really well. So I think that helped compared to previous years. What about you?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the awards. I was catching up to the sessions that I had to watch, and I was rewatching some old sessions, so sadly I didn't have the time to watch the awards.
Yeah, what I really liked about the awards was that they really showed the nominations, and I think apart from like suspense, as Jordy said, it also like really highlighted and showed that like other apps who in previous years may not have even known that they were nominated for an ADA, they now know that like they were one of the like select few to be nominated for an ADA, which is in itself a really big honor. And I think also the fact that as Stefan said, there is a lot. I noticed they highlighted both like apps by company, apps by indie developers as well, which I think is really, really nice. The spread was quite well.
Yeah, definitely. And I also like that they had these events throughout the week because normally everything was basically on the first day. It was like keynote, State of the Union, Design Awards, which was like all the fun like special activities were at the start, and now they're more spread out. Did any of you go to the design session or the digital lounge thing today, where there were also SwiftUI questions and stuff?
Yeah, I tried to get some questions in. Unfortunately, they didn't get answered, so I will try to find the answer through other means. Yeah, I imagine they were pretty much there were tons of people asking questions. Basically, I imagine it was the last session, so I don't blame them if they didn't have the time to answer everything.
Yeah,
I think you can drop.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think you can drop your questions on Swift forums.
Yeah, you can go to the Apple developer forums and then tag the different sessions or the different technologies. And I think for the next week, developers will still be watching those, but it's obviously less like direct, and it's obviously less, I would say, important for them to like keep the forum up to date compared to like a dedicated hour where they do the questions. So from what I just read is that the Slack is actually closing up later tonight, depending on the time zone, which is quite a shame because there's a lot of questions there where the answers are really nice to have documented. So I'm kind of secretly hoping that someone just went through it and just copied them all. I don't know. It's kind of tricky because it's also like it's just people posting there and not necessarily giving their permission to share those answers. But yeah, I think it would just be really nice if tomorrow or on Monday some website pops up where you can read those questions again. But yeah, I really like this new format they have, and I also think it's more scalable for them to do throughout the year as well in different times. Not necessarily related to WWDC, because they can just say, hey, this week we have a few open sessions again. Ask your questions, and after we've all let the new iOS APIs sink in. So after this new the second edition of WWDC, how would you all like to see it evolve over the next few years? And not necessarily just next year, but just in general, if you look at what should a really good developer conference be, in your opinion?
I think that's really correct. Like this year, like they really went into this the online dev thing. Next year, hopefully, we'll be having dev offline. But the ideas like digital lounges and all, these are pretty good ideas, and they could be like they could do this like whole year. Like I think on Swift forums, the diversity in Swift team, I think they're pretty active in answering questions. They can keep the Slack open and like just like ping us like if like in a couple of weeks they're free or it was really like a really great experience.
What about you, Stefan? Let's say in 5 years, what would your ideal WWDC look like?
I think that it's the ideal one I can think of is a mixture of both. So I think that like people were all over Twitter like saying, "Oh, I really missed the in-person WWDC," and "Oh, that was the last one I went to." So I think there's definitely a value in doing it on location. But I had the impression that not only people were enjoying the format a lot. For example, like people going to labs like all over the world, so you didn't have to be on location to do that, which is like a huge thing for people not living close to Cupertino or wherever it will be. So I think that was a nice touch there. And I also had the impression that actually the Apple employees really had fun doing it. So like when you were reading in the Slack, like people were really happy about helping other people and showing off their work and were proud of that. And I think it will be a challenge if that would totally go away, because they seem to really enjoy it. What was the impression of the other people here, like Andy?
Yes, you can see just by the length of their answers on the Slack channel, you can tell that they are really passionate about what they are doing, and they are really having a lot of fun being able to answer all these people. So my ideal WWDC, it will also be a hybrid between being there and having all these online sessions. I think there will be a lot of value in having the labs there, but I really like this Slack idea. I think it can be improved a bit. Like it can maybe be more flexible, try to cover more hours and stuff like that. But I think they really did a very good job with it. So just before, well, after it closed, we could see that Serenity, who works at Apple, was doing the survey, and so they are really looking into improving this format as well. It's going to be pretty fun to see what they come up with for the next years.
What about you, Sai?
Yeah, I think hybrid is probably the future, but it's always really tricky because as there is a big monetary constraint, and with in-person WWDC, which is that a lot of developers who can't travel all the way to Cupertino or San Jose, for this was really accessible to them, the engineers, the labs, the sessions. So I think my ideal dub experience would be in the future, they should just post the sessions online like they're doing right now, but as they should still have the in-person event, and that would have a greater emphasis on labs. So developers could still do virtual watch parties, just they would be in person, and then they could spend a lot more time in labs with engineers and other people at Apple. And that way, I think we're getting the best of both worlds. We're getting the communication and the socialization that developers want with other developers. We're getting interaction with the Apple employees, and people who can't make it are still getting the sessions as soon as they can, because previously, and even for developers who went in person, if you missed some code, you'd have to wait like a day or two or even a week sometimes before the session was posted. And having it on demand and being able to rewind and just watch something, I think that's really great. So yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some great improvements, and Apple will definitely come up with something for that hybrid option.
Yeah, and I think those are really good points, especially the different style that the offline version would be, because it wouldn't make sense to now sit in a conference room for 5 days just watching sessions after like the new format, because the new thing is like the sessions are shorter, they're more focused. What I would really like to see is more sessions that really bring out all of the functionality of a new API, for example. There's now usually like a beginner session that explains the basics, and then one or two that goes a little bit deeper. But it would be nice if, for example, for like the new SharePlay API, that they just release, 10 sessions, all going in on like different things and going into like common pitfalls that you might run into, or like just constantly updated throughout the year based on feedback they get. Because now it's usually it gets you up and running, but you really quickly already start running into stuff. And I think that's just because it's all really new. I think most of these APIs have not been finalized for more than a month or so, as if you consider finalized right now. So I think it would be nice if the developer conference format would become more of an ongoing thing and not necessarily one thing like really focused. I mean, they will probably have to do the yearly releases because that's just Apple's thing, and it works really well to get everyone like in the same line. But I think it would be nice if they can spread out some more of the developer things more over the year, as they did in the past. With sometimes they had these sessions in the spring in different locations across the world. So I would like to see something like that, and
But
also the time zones. Yeah.
I had the impression that actually using the developer app, there were actually some sessions posted throughout the year. So I was checking it during the pre-WWDC hype, just for no reason, and I found some sessions and watched them. And I think one was like the rendering cycle in Swift UI or something like that. And I watched it, and that was released probably like 1 or 2 months before WWDC. So I think they're probably testing that out. And I totally agree with Jordi. I think that would be a great opportunity to even post more videos throughout the year.
Yeah, and you have like focus areas. Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, this has happened before. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, if the Slack was open, they can even do like more watch parties as per their convenience, like when they release new videos and stuff, where we can like ask questions. And I think that with this year's conference, it really showed, like, with respect to the stuff that they released, that they really listen to people. Like, so many incremental updates they have pushed. It just showed like they were really listening. So I think that this could like overall increase the community engagement.
Yeah. So actually, there was 1 year, I don't remember when, maybe it was 2018, 2017, when Apple actually released a well, it was technically a WWDC video, but they released another video for a technical session. I don't remember what it was. It was related to hardware because a new iPhone had just come out. I don't know if anyone remembers, but there was a video that they posted like in maybe September or so, because they had released a new iPhone. There were new APIs for that hardware, but I don't remember the year. I will try to look it up.
I think it was 2018. You're right. It was I think because of the release of the iPhone 10 and just telling developers how to handle the notch. And ever since then, there have been, as you've said, sessions in the spring for either the iPad, the new keyboard which has focus interactions, or just adopting your app for the M1 MacBook Pros or something like that. But yeah, there have been sessions throughout the year, and I wish they would make that a more regular routine.
Yeah, maybe they could try to grab the feedbacks they get from the beta session and try to make more videos based on the number of feedbacks that are related. So for example, how do I download a picture on SwiftUI without using async image? And they could try, if many people ask that, they could try to cover that in a session that would be posted months later after WWDC.
I also think that they're actually taking this approach a little bit more because they're spreading out their events more, and I really like that. I mean, it's more focused, and they don't have to pack everything together as like the whole crowd it doesn't need to come to their presentation rooms and such. So I think the spreading out is actually already happening, because also in some only point releases of iOS, there are actually also features added. So I think that we can probably
expect more of this in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So with WWDC behind us, you would think that we're out of events, but that's not the case, because the WWDC community is still going for the rest of the weekend. So there's still the scavenger hunt, I think, if you want to discover the virtual venue that was created. And tomorrow at 10 p.m. my time, which is, I would say, like 1 p.m. Pacific time or something, the hackathon starts, where within 24 hours you can make something with the new APIs. You have to have a team of 2 or 3, not more, because there's a lot of prizes. And we don't want Michi and the rest of the organizers to go broke on this. So the first prize winners, each member in the team wins either an Apple Watch SE or an Apple TV. The second prize is an HomePod Mini for everyone on the team, and the third prize is an AirTag. And if you use any of the Swift packages from the Swift Package Index, you can also win a special prize there. This afternoon, I thought I had a really good idea for the hackathon, and I've been working on it for 4 hours, and then I ran into some issues. And I don't think it's technically possible, but I did manage to get an extra lab with the SharePlay team to figure out some stuff. So I learned a lot, so that's nice. Are any of you planning on joining the hackathon tomorrow or Sunday?
I would, but I actually don't have any ideas of what I could implement. Like, there are tons of new APIs, but I don't think there's anything that I would like to get work right away. My priority right now is to understand the new async await APIs, and that's my
Yeah, that doesn't really
my
make for
tips.
a nice hackathon project. I mean, it would probably lead to
Yeah,
nice code, but not necessarily something cool to show.
exactly.
Yeah. Sai or Prabhajit, any of you planning on joining?
Yeah, I think I have the same problem as Andy, which is just there's just so much, and I could build on maybe a few apps, but no, I won't be a part of the hackathon.
Prabhajit or Stefan, come on, give me some competition here. Otherwise, I'm going to win all the prizes.
You're
thought about
good,
it.
Jordi.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I said that you definitely earn it to win the prizes, so I won't compete with you. But
nice
for
of you.
me, it's like I probably need some sleep, some family time, which is going to be nice. So really looking forward to that. And yeah, I also think that there's no no big features that are like jumping right out that I would
Definitely
like
know you want
to
to,
work
yeah.
with. So yeah,
For me-
I think
For me, I'd say I already competed with you in a hackathon once. You won it. I'm still that's still pretty fresh for me. I won't be embarrassed.
Yeah, actually, Prabhajit and I were in the Big Brains hackathon earlier in April, which I won. But yeah, I'm curious to see what people come up with, because I agree with what some of you were saying, that there's nothing that, like, last year was widgets. Like, everyone knew if you make widgets, you can like make cool stuff with that, and the app clips and everything. This year, I think it's a bit more difficult to find the standout feature that everyone will want to download on iOS 15's launch. I don't really see a widgetsmith kind of situation coming up where everyone's getting ready to download one specific type of app. But I definitely think the SharePlay stuff, it can lead to a lot of cool things. I'm not really sure yet what's possible, but just being able to, like, it's basically like this screen sharing thing that I can do here in Melon. It's kind of like weird. You have you all on the left side, and then my mouse gets to control it. But if you can, like, on your phone, you can touch it. You can see where the other person is touching. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do there. So from things just reading a website would be fun if you can do it together. So I definitely think that there's going to be some really interesting apps there. Hopefully, my idea, I can get to work. I'm talking to Andy to see if I maybe can do it on the Mac Monterey, because there's a bit less restrictions there. But we'll have to see how it goes for the rest of the summer. And I think with that, I am going to end it for today, and I'm going to end it for this week, actually. I thought it was really nice. I don't know what about you, but like these commentary sessions, even though next time I'm not going to do all of them myself, I would split them up a little bit. But just being able to talk to people and just having these, like, for example, Sai starting now with his experience at the lab, I think that leads to really interesting conversations that don't necessarily start from like this big obvious thing that was announced or something. It's more like, hey, Sai learned some stuff, we can discuss it. Andy gives him some feedback about, like, is localization a big part? I like how it's easier now. So yeah, I think it would be fun if we can keep this kind of thing up in the future as well. Like, kind of practice what we preach when we say that Apple should do it the rest of the year. Maybe we as a community can already can also work on stuff like that, and just keep each other up to date and help each other out. So yeah, is there anything you want to say to end this week and to finalize it, basically?
I just want to say a big thank you to you, Jordi. Big thank you to the rest of the WWDC community. You guys have done a pretty great job organizing all this. I can't even begin to imagine how much effort you guys put into this, but I had a lot of fun. I like doing these commentary sessions, and it's great being able to meet all these new developers who are working on new stuff, connecting with new people, because I'm one of those people who have never been to Cupertino. I have never been to a physical WWDC, but this is the closest that I get, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, we almost lost Stefan there. Yeah, we've got about 120 volunteers in different capacities in the WWDC community. So it's really crazy to see like the whole website, all the social media stuff, the banners, the designs, the commentary sessions, all the get-togethers. It's all like a really nice volunteer effort. So obviously most of the credit goes to Mishi, who like, I don't know how she does it. Like it's always online, like doesn't matter which time zone. So yeah, I hope she'll organize it again next year. Maybe next year we can make an even nicer thing and get even more people, keep people connected and part of the community. So yeah, I think I'm going to end it there unless anyone has any famous last words to say.
I just want to quickly mention one thing. Like you mentioned that you don't think there's going to be a Widget Smith situation. I think even David Smith didn't expect to have like such a sensational success with Widget Kit. So let's see about that. Maybe there will be some.
Yeah, that's true. It was more that's such a visible thing, and I mean, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
you never know.
Let's make sure that one of us 5 creates that thing that's so special that we didn't even think of it. All right. Hey, it was really nice to meet you all, and I'll speak to you all online. I mean, now that we're connected, it's so much easier. So. All right, have a nice weekend and try to get some rest. Try to close some laptops, even though I said I'm not going to. All right. Bye-bye.
Same to you. Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Have a great weekend, everyone.